Torre, the host and creator of the Pete Torre Show, and I want to welcome you to episode 17. Before we move on, I want to thank my sponsors. They are so important to this program. Jackson Health, South Florida, Best Practices Title, and Clutch Burger. My two guests today represent Dade County, Miami-Dade County, in a very special way. My first guest is our Honorable Mayor, Daniella Levine Cava. And following the mayor is Rodney Barreto, President CEO of the Barreto Group. My first guest, the mayor, has been in office 9 months now and has been faced in her short time as mayor with a series of very, very important challenges. Let's sit back and listen to that conversation. All right, it is my pleasure to bring onto the program Mayor Levine Cava. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pete. Great to be with you.
Well, I wanted to connect with you on so many things. I mean, I don't even know where to start, but there's so much going on. But I think the first and foremost, let's take a look at the surge that's happening with COVID-19, which is very, very troubling for all of us.
Well, as you say, we're on what is being called a third wave. And in the case of Florida, it's bigger than ever. Not a good thing. So we have to be extremely aggressive. I am very proud of our local response. We have the highest vaccination rate in the state. By some accounts, over 80% of those 12 and above. So we're very proud of that. For those over 65, it's approaching 100%. So we have done a really fabulous job together. We, unfortunately, though, this Delta variant has managed to get a hold into our community and is really creating mayhem. And we know it's mostly the unvaccinated. It's also younger people, people with health complications. And we're doing a better job of saving lives, but they're still dying and they still are ending up with long-term conditions. And we just need to take that vaccine. That is really the only thing that can protect our whole community. And then to use the masks and all of the other things we know how to do need to help us get this under control.
Absolutely. You mentioned a very positive number. 80% have taken, I guess, both dosages of the vaccine?
I think that's one dose.
Okay, one dose. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
One dose. So, we've seen a huge uptick right now as a result of the fear factor. People are finally realizing that, yes, they are vulnerable, that, yes, the vaccine does work. And so our numbers of daily vaccines, which are largely being administered by the county itself, some in the pharmacies and so on, but we're seeing 2,000 on average per day taking the vaccine.
Something that's in the back of the minds of so many of us, especially the small business owners. That we had the lockdown last year. For about 3 months, 3.5 months. Is there any consideration, any thinking, any conversation? Obviously, it's all going to be connected to, if this gets even worse than what it is right now. Has there been talk anywhere about some sort of a lockdown or, that maybe is kind of percolating right now?
Really, we're all focusing on taking the safety measures. We do know masking really does work. Mm-hmm. So that is the number one thing. If you're out and about, you need to mask. Mm-hmm. Also, you need to do that social distance thing, the disinfection and washing hands. And really, people who have any symptoms need to isolate until they can disprove that it's COVID. COVID is the default until proven otherwise. Also, if you've been exposed, even if you don't have symptoms, you need to get tested. So we need to be aggressive. We're on contact tracing on kind of a self-report. It's so prevalent in the community now. We just need everybody to be that conscientious.
Absolutely. We all got to be responsible. We know what we have to do. We just got to do it. I mean, that's the bottom line in all of this.
Right.
Going back to last year, a lot of small businesses, as you well know, and we've had this conversation before, were affected greatly. Many of them have still not recovered. They're still struggling. There's issues with the SBA EIDL program. There's some glitches there. There's uh, uh, what is the county? I know the county is doing a lot, has been doing a lot for the small businesses. Has that support expanded some more?
We have the fund that is the RISE fund, and it is a replenished fund for loans.
Hmm.
We are working on our American Rescue Plan Act dollars
Hmm.
that will include money for small businesses as well. That has been approved initially by the board. It goes to Washington, the U.S. Department of Treasury for approval, and then the specifics will have to be done through a competitive bid process. So the earliest will be sometime in the fall that those funds can be distributed again. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we do have our Small Business Administration. We've got our FIU Small Business Program.
Hmm.
We have a small business training program also administered through the Miami Foundation and also through our county office, my Office of Equity and Inclusion, and
Um, I would love to congratulate you and your team on your leadership during the Surfside tragedy and what happened back then. It I'm sure as a new mayor, it was one of those things that you never imagined would happen. I think if any city in any part of the country, when you think of something like that, is horrendous. Um, uh, where are we at with Surfside? I know it's a long drawn out process, but what is the status right now after almost 2 months since that tragedy?
right. So obviously unthinkable, unimaginable, something that the whole world was watching, the shock of it, and we all want answers. We want to understand what made that building fall. We clearly want to do everything in our powers, that's at the local, state, national levels, to make sure a tragedy of this sort never ever happens again. So we're deep in the midst of investigating, analyzing with the support of National Institute of Safety and
Hmm.
Technology. So we're working hard on that. All of the victims' families have been supported through a very extensive multi-agency network, the Family Assistance Center, FEMA, the State Department of Emergency Management, Small Business Administration. So much has happened to support these victims and also the survivors, the ones that fortunately we were able to evacuate out of the intact building. So it's been an extraordinary recovery effort. With that said, we're still searching through all of the ruins to
Hmm.
find valuables, to find any evidence. That continues at an off-site location. And the site itself is being secured. There's a wall that is unstable. And so before we can fully open that area to further investigation or even traffic on Collins Avenue, we're shoring up that wall. The court has appointed a receiver,
Hmm.
working very hard to bring some financial relief to everyone involved. And so it's a very, very active scene
Sure,
still.
sure. And there's a ways to go from what you just said right now in
Exactly,
all of this.
exactly.
But do you foresee a stepping up of the building codes and
Yes.
inspections out
Yeah.
of all of this?
I do, and I'm very pleased that Chairman of the Commission, Pepe Diaz, and I are co-chairing a working group that will be meeting first time August 30th, and we are going to have representatives, the entire congressional delegation that serves the area, city mayors, county representatives, state legislators, and we're going to talk together about solutions at each level. We want to make sure that we can move expeditiously
Yeah.
to make corrections and that we are not stepping on each other's toes, that we're really coordinating.
That's a great point because in a rush, and everybody has the best of intentions. Many times in a rush to get things done and
Yes,
improve them, it's what you just said right now. There needs to be a process, a thought out process,
yes,
so that it
yes,
runs efficiently there. But
yes.
we know the intentions are good across the board there, and
Yeah,
uh,
and we already have a list of ideas that have been accumulated from the public, from experts. We have an internal group that's been advising our building department. And so we're going to bring items forward that don't require legislation, as well as to work together on any legislative changes.
well, with us, you have a friend. Whatever we need can do to get the word out, and as things develop, we want to update our viewers of what's going on there because there's we want to also debunk any misinformation that's out there. That's very
Yeah.
important that what is communicated is the right information at the right time. Uh, so much is happening in Miami in general in terms of the whole technology scene. It's very exciting what's going on, and
Yes,
I know
true.
Mayor Suarez, and specifically in the city of Miami. But I know this is a county-wide initiative and project. What's your take on what's going on, and where this could actually lead all of us?
Yeah, so true. We are definitely still growing. People want to be here. The crane is still the statewide bird, and we're building up as well. So we've had good fortune for a lot here. Everyone's learned how to do that. So people want lifestyle. They want to live a place that is enjoyable. They don't necessarily have to be in those former technology hubs. So we are the beneficiary. Mayor Suarez has done so much to elevate our profile, and the Beacon Council helps the county with our um, incentive dollars, which have been deployed for some of these businesses. And we're also working on a pipeline. We want to be sure that this uptick really benefits our local folks, people who can get these jobs, people who need the training to get the jobs, local entrepreneurs who have their own great ideas. How do we start up? So there's a lot of energy around making sure that this tech boom is equitable. Invite people here to bring tech solutions to some of those challenges. So it's definitely an opportunity that grows out of our challenges as well.
I think it's exciting to see what's going on, and it all really started about 7 years ago with Emerge Americas, and all that
Hmm.
movement. So and this is just in
Yes, I
addition to all
agree.
of this. It really is
Yes, and I
good.
have my own chief technology uh, advisor named Jessie Covey, and she comes out of Facebook, and she was on the tech innovation team for President Obama. So she is advising us as well. Our chief information officer is Margaret Brisbane, and we've assembled an innovation team internally within the county to make sure that our county government is responsive to tech opportunities as
I
well.
absolutely love it. To start wrapping things up, Mayor, you're fast approaching the end of your first year as the mayor
Yes.
of Miami-Dade County. It's happened, and it's happening very quickly, and a lot has happened. How do you feel about everything so far?
Well, clearly, a lot of curveballs have come my way. Certainly, I knew about COVID. I took that on, understanding the magnitude of it. Buildings collapsing was not in my crystal ball.
Right.
And now we have an earthquake in Haiti, and really, we have so many challenges. That to be said, I feel very proud of the work that has been done in my first 9 months in office. We've stood up the Office of Equity and Inclusion. We're doubling down on opportunities across all of our communities. Make sure that there's equal opportunity. We have focused on citizen participation and transparency. We had 1 million+ answers to our Thrive 305, and we'll be rolling out that plan, I believe, starting next week. So stay tuned. It will inform my priorities going forward. We also have an Office of Neighborhood Safety that we're
Hmm.
putting up to, and with our Peace and Prosperity Plan that was passed by the Commission, we're making real inroads. And you've seen it has been a summer of peace. We have really gone a long way working hand in hand with law enforcement on Operation Summer Heat. We've been able to curb the violence significantly.
Hmm.
So those are just a few of the important changes. I've also got some new leadership inside county government, some exciting new appointments, people that are supporting the road ahead. It's got to be about innovation and change and building trust. And we've been doing a lot around constituent engagement, lots and lots of
Well, absolutely. The word engagement, I think, is
improvements
is
in how
is
we know we're listening.
right. Well, I'll tell you, the
Yes,
word engagement
yes.
is really where it's at with you, and you've been very engaging with the community, and we thank you for that. Anything we can do to keep supporting your efforts, we're here for you. So thank you for being with us today. I know you have a hectic schedule, but we're honored that you've been able to join us.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate your coverage of these important issues. And your audience is an audience of people that really care about what's happening locally and want to be engaged. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a blessed day. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much to Mayor Levine Cava for some very important updates on what's going on in Miami-Dade County. Now for my second guest, Rodney Barreto. As I mentioned before, the president and the CEO of the Barreto Group. What hasn't Rodney done in our community? He has been a big part of our economic development. He's been a big part of giving back to the community. He is an investor in real estate, a consultant, an ex-police officer in the city of Miami, and much, much more. So let's listen to that conversation. Okay, with me right now is, if I call him a legend in our county, he may get embarrassed, but he has certainly been a big, big part of Miami-Dade County, South Florida, and beyond. Of course, I'm talking about Rodney Barreto. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, sir. How are you doing, Pete?
I
Everything
am
good?
I am doing fantastic, thank God. I think, in spite of everything going on with the new surge in COVID and all these things happening, I think the rest of this year is going to be fantastic. And I know you're working on a million things. Before we get moving on, I don't have enough time in the day to share with everybody the things that you have done, and of course the things that you are doing right now in your line of work and giving back to the community. I like to call you our events guru here in South Florida. I call Bill Talbert Mr. Soul Miami. I call you Mr. Events Guru.
Right.
But you're involved in so many things. It all started with you being and maybe we can go back there briefly. It all started with you being a police officer in the city of Miami, correct?
That's correct. Yep, that's where I started. And I was fortunate to work an off-duty job at Monty's restaurant in Coconut Grove, which was the most incredible opportunity, because he had the restaurant that everybody went to at that time. It was the most popular restaurant in Coconut Grove, the Raw Bar on the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for him off duty. And then at some point, I was working plain clothes in the Grove, and some guy tried to shoot me and kill me. And
Okay.
yeah, true story. And then there was an article in the paper, and I walked into Monty's restaurant, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, why don't you come work for me? My friends don't need to be shot at." And the Clarence Dixon was the chief of police at the time. I went to Clarence and I asked him, I said, "Listen, I've got this offer from Monty, the restaurateur in Coconut Grove. And I think I'm going to take it. What do you think?" He says, "Listen, go for it. If it doesn't work out, the door will be open. You can come back here anytime." So that kind of gave me the opportunity, the fortitude to go ahead and make that decision. Every time I see Clarence, I give him a big hug, thank him. And I guess the rest is history, as they would say. So
I would imagine, Rodney, that experience, and being a police officer and working for the city and your the line of work of any police officer is what can I tell you? You know much better than I do. It's extremely dangerous on a day-to-day basis.
yeah, I think most people don't realize the day in life of a policeman. I think a policeman in today's world, or even when I was there, you see more in one day than most people see in their lifetime. And when I talk about child abuse, I talk about drug overdose, I talk about shootings. Of course, when I was a policeman, it was in the early 80s. So I had the Mariel boat lift. I had the big race riots here in town.
Yep.
And we had the big cocaine wars and shootings. If you can remember the shootings at Dayland and all over this community.
Crown Liquor, I never forget that.
Yes. So those were really turbulent times for our community. I remember back then, the Times magazine said it was was it the headline
Yes.
was Paradise Lost?
Paradise Lost, yes.
Yeah.
Which didn't do a whole lot for our tourism
No, but
business.
we
at the
dug
time.
in and we came back as a community. But it's a thankless job. You know, that's why most people like firemen, because remember, firemen come to render aid. Policemen
Yes.
come when there's an issue.
Yes.
And people don't realize that. But when police are called because there's a confrontation, whether it's between a husband and wife or their children or a drug overdose. They're always called to a bad situation.
Yes.
Their house is broken into. They get called, their car, they're in a wreck. They're never called for a good situation. You know, and that's what people don't understand. It's a thankless job. My hat's off. I respect policemen. Like you can imagine, because I've been there, done that, and know what they go through, and I respect them immensely, and thank them every day for what they do to protect our community, because it's really a tough job.
It really is. I don't know the last time they were invited just for a housewarming. You know, it's like you just said right now. They're invited when there's a situation that needs attention.
Right.
So I think that I would imagine that experience really has been what has been your springboard to everything you've done professionally, correct?
Yeah, you know, it certainly has given me a very good perspective when I deal with people. I can size people up real quick. You know, I can tell people who are trying to feed me a bunch of BS so I think from that perspective, it's also helped open doors, because when I deal with business people and they find out that I used to be a policeman, it gives me certain credibility.
Absolutely.
But I tell you, who instilled in me was two people that instilled in me to be part of the community and participate. Was obviously my dad, who did a lot of that. My dad worked for the Florida East Coast Railroad for like 60 years. He ran a lot of people don't know this. He ran all the real estate from Key West to West Palm Beach. He was the man who sold the land that is now Metro Rail along Dixie Highway and the bus lane all the way down to Homestead. And believe it or not, my actual godfather was Steve Clark. My dad, my mom, and Steve Clark all went to Jesuit High School in downtown Miami.
Okay.
So Steve was the mayor of Miami-Dade County. My dad convinced him to buy this land to build Metro Rail. And they're way ahead of their time. You couldn't buy that land today.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So, but it was my dad, and it was, of course, Monty Trainer, who really instilled in me that you had to give back and be part of the community. Of course, Monty did a lot of that, and working for him, I participated in a lot of that. So I remember before there was a Bill Talbert and before there was a convention bureau, there was two guys in this community. One was a guy named Monty Trainer, and the other guy was Steve Musk. Steve Musk basically was the man on Miami Beach. He owned the Fountain Blue at the time. And then there was Monty, who owned basically 9 restaurants and clubs at that time. And they were the convention bureau. And Monty would go solicit, and he would bring the Wheel of Fortune show here, or he would do the Miss Universe pageant or the Miss Teen USA pageant. He helped bring back baseball to University of Miami.
Yes.
He helped with, raising money to bring the heat downtown. It was Monty did a lot of things. He's an unsung hero in our community, and still active. He's running the Coconut Grove Art Festival today, and still does a lot of great things for the community. But he's the one that kind of put into my mind, like, you got to, if you work hard, you also got to give back to the community, and that's helped me a lot. So
I had the pleasure of meeting Monty 3 years ago, and before I knew who he was, we were just having a conversation, and then all of a sudden, "Oh, by the way, what's your name?" And he goes, "Monty Trainers," and I go, "Monty Trainer?"
Like the Monty Trainer, right? Yeah.
And the rest of that conversation, I was like, "Can you sign an autograph for me here?" I mean, he's so humble and so down to earth, which tells you everything. about the
Yeah.
guy. You know, it's just amazing to see that. Rodney, obviously you've been involved in so many things. I know you've got the Barreto group, and you're involved in real estate. You're consulting. You've recently expanded into hospitality, and I know that hospitality venture. You're one of the partners in the Redfish Grill with Chef Adrian. I had her on the program a week ago, and it was great to talk with her. It had been 9 years since I had her on my show. Um, Tell me about that project, because it seems like it's a little bit different from what you had been doing in the past.
Yeah. So what happened is we were actually doing some work for the leaseholder of Redfish,
Mm-hmm.
and a guy named Charles Hauser.
Mm-hmm.
And Charles is I would say an older gentleman, and the restaurant was destroyed by the hurricane.
Yep.
And it was going to take someone who had a lot of time and energy and patience to rebuild it. And Charles, I don't think really was, wanting to go through all those hoops.
Sure.
It's a county-owned building, but it's in Coral Gables, and it's a historical building. So you got
Mm-hmm.
3 different groups of people you got to always go talk to, and when one kicks it back, you got to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was fortunate that Charles wanted to get rid of it. I made him an offer. I bought the lease from him.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I had to rebuild it. So I proceeded down that path, and my son, who's the general contractor, pulled the permit, and we went on our business to rebuild that place with a whole different vision, though.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different than what it was, the old Redfish. And the old
Yes.
Redfish was a great property, but we wanted to make it even better.
Sure.
And so we were able to convince the county that we wanted to build a bar out back, and they agreed with it. We activated the rooftop, which was a active roof when it was originally built. That was originally built in the 30s as a bathhouse. And then over the years, it became a hot dog stand. And then over the years, it became Redfish.
Mm-hmm.
And then so now it's the new version of the Redfish, which is basically a full liquor restaurant. And the old Redfish was just a beer wine place.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it differently. We did it with umbrellas out back, with pergolas out back, taking advantage of more seating, which allows for more people to eat outside, which everybody wants to do now with COVID, because everybody
Yes.
wants to eat outside.
Right.
So so it's been a great project. And then now, as I was building it, I said, God, we gotta bring in a different chef and something different.
Yes.
And so I had been out to Chef Adrian's restaurant way out in Kendall, 157th.
Yep.
And I've met her a couple times, even though she probably doesn't remember meeting me, but that's okay. And then, well, it's funny, but I tell people the story, and it's a great story. I messaged her on Facebook. Say, hey, listen, I got this restaurant opportunity. It's Redfish. It's on the water. It's about you to think.
Celebrated my birthday 3 weeks ago there, my birthday
Yep.
weekend, and it was amazing. And that's why I said I need to get both Rodney and Adrian on the program here to talk about everything going on. Rodney, obviously you've been a big player, no pun intended, with the Super Bowl here in Miami. I think you've been involved throughout 5 different Super Bowls, and have been chair of the Super Bowl committee 3 out of those 5 times, and so involved. Obviously, the Dolphins are the first major league team here in Miami, which has spawned everything else. And and we just talked about the Super Bowl at the beginning of last year. What for the benefit of the viewers who really don't understand 100% what this means to our county. What does an event like the Super Bowl mean to our economic bases, our growth, job creation? Tell us a little bit about that.
So let me start by how I got involved. So Dick Anderson, who's the All-Pro safety, who lives here in Coral Gables, came to me and said, hey, I'm going to be the first chairman of a Super Bowl committee that the NFL's ever put together, and it's going to be the Miami game way back in, I believe it was 89.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on the committee for like 30 times. So Dick got me involved, and Dick and I actually saw Dick last week. We were really good friends.
Okay.
And from there, you know, I've seen how Super Bowl's involved. You know, Super Bowl 30 years ago is not what it is today. You know, it's completely different. But to your point and to your question, what does Super Bowl do for your community? First of all, you bring all this money into your community. It's corporate America. I tell people it's corporate America at its best. It's all the big companies entertaining their top clients, their top customers. They bring them to a Super Bowl. You know, if someone's doing $10 million worth of business with a particular company, and you bring all those people here to the Super Bowl, you want to end up doing $20 million. So you wine and dine them, and, you know, all that stuff that goes along with it. So the mere fact that, you know, I often tell people that the game is great, but it's really all the business for our community. So like all our hotels are filled, all our restaurants are full, all our shopping malls are full, the beaches are full. People just enjoying your community. They come here, they experience Miami, and go, oh my God, we got to come back. We got to move here. We want to look at real estate. We want to get a condo here. Then there's the intangibles, which is all the PR we get. So for a solid 10 days, all the bylines, all the newspaper reporting, everything's live from Miami. You can't buy that. And that goes worldwide. And we've been so blessed that, you know, we get so much PR out of that you don't have to buy. And we value that well over an estimated $150 million worth of PR. So it's a great investment.
Just the PR part.
Yeah, it's a great investment for a community to bring a Super Bowl to town. It highlights your community. It just and it really sets us apart from a lot of people. And by the way, we have had more Super Bowls than any other city in America. So,
and I would imagine that the NFL is looking to come back real soon as well.
You know, it's that, Peter. It's great because I actually signed some paperwork not long ago to commit us to certain things, and we're waiting for the owners to make a decision. I suspect that we will have the game back in 27.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's some other cities that have brand new stadiums that want to show them off, and they've never had a Super Bowl, and so that's an important thing. We got about a minute or so left here, and there's so much I want to talk to you about here. Yeah. But right now, what is your big focus at the moment? I know you've been involved with the Wildlife Commission, and you've been appointed by the governors of the state. What is kind of that sweet spot for you right now?
Well, right now I'm actually enjoying the hospitality space. Okay. I did Redfish. I also partnered up with Chef Adrian, her restaurant out in Kendall. Mm-hmm. We just opened Forte on Miracle Mile with her. Yes. Mm-hmm. I partnered with the guys from the Miami River Wharf. We did the Fort Lauderdale Wharf.
That's right.
And we have the restaurant next door called River Tales. Alex Montecone and Emmy Gary have become very good friends. So I've just recently partnered with them. We're going to rebuild the John Martins on Miracle Mile and reopen that. I teamed up on them. We're doing a project at Bayside that we're getting ready to announce. It's called Pier 5. And so, we got a bunch of different things in the pipeline. It's a neat little space. And a lot of opportunity. A lot of people come to me, and I look at different deals, and so it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, you absolutely love what you do, and I can see it, by just the way you've been talking about it. Their work, actually, the work speaks volume, and we're very lucky to have you in our backyard, and hopefully you and I can have another conversation soon about some other things, because you've got a lot of things that you're working on there. I like to call you a multi-involver. You've heard about multitasker. You're a multi-involver.
I am. A lot of people come in, how do you do it? I mean, you got this, you got that going, you're doing this, you're doing that. I love it. I chair the Fish and Wildlife Commission. I have a passion for the fish and wildlife. I love it, because I love the outdoors. So that's, and I grew up here in the outdoors. As kids, we went and hunted in the Everglades, and we fished on Biscayne Bay, and we had a blast. So, we want to make sure we preserve those assets to our future generations, right? So they can enjoy it. So yeah, so a lot of great things going on. We got a great community, and it's a lot of energy, and we're a melting pot where I think 100 and something languages are spoken, different languages are spoken in Miami every day, which it just makes us really, there's nothing boring about Miami. So,
Not at all, my friend. And you got a beautiful family, by the way.
Thank you.
And a lot of great siblings. I know your sister's Nancy for a long
Yeah.
time. So God bless you all. And thank you so much for taking time to be with us today on this program. Like I said, hopefully we can do this again soon.
Let's do it, Peter. Good seeing you. All right.
All right, brother.
And
God
I
bless
like the new, and I like the new studio.
Yeah, you can thank my son and congratulate him. He did it all here.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you to Rodney Barreto for being with us here today. As you can see, he is an important part of our community and someone who has contributed significantly through the years. I want to thank you, our viewers that are with us here on every show. You're writing to us. Keep it coming. That's very important for me to understand what's important to you so that we can continue our programming and cater to the things that you want to hear. I'm going to ask you to follow me on my social media handles, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and if you got a moment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Della Torre. I want you now to just sit back and consider everything we talked about here today. Apply it to your life, apply it to your business. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Take care, and God bless.